The 50th Northumbrian Division, the Tyne's, commanded by Major General Graham, assaulted Gold Beach. They were probably the most experienced troops involved in D-Day. They'd come in through Cherbourg in 1940 and left by Dunkirk. They'd been fighting in North Africa and Italy. Many of them weren't too enthralled at having the honour to lead yet another Allied offensive. This is Gold Beach, and the 50th Northumbrian Division landed here. They had several missions. The main mission was to capture Bayeux, which they actually took on the 7th. They also had to capture Arromanches, where they were going to make a harbour, and capture Port-en-Bessin, which was a port, which they wanted to use as a port. The whole zone was 10 miles long, but because most of it was cliffs, they actually landed in this part of the beach from Fierre to Anel. Now Fierre is over here, and behind me you can see the gun emplacement just here, which was knocked out around 9:30 by a Sherman tank coming up the beach. It got a shot right through the opening. And the other way, we look towards Anel, and you can see the phoenixes which made up the Mulberry. So that's the extent of Gold Beach. Past Fierre-sur-Mer, just there, is Juno Beach. That was 5 miles long. The strong points in the zone numbered from WN33 to WN48, including 3 gun batteries. The beach assault included the region from WN33 at Fierre-sur-Mer to WN37 at Anel. In the whole zone, there were 19 strong points, nearly twice as many as at Omaha Beach. The main strong points were WN33 at Fierre and WN37 at Anel. WN33 had an 88mm gun, a 75mm gun, 2 50mm guns and several machine guns. WN37 at Anel was the strongest with an 88mm gun, a 50mm gun, 2 machine guns, a mortar and the sanatorium which was fortified. 2 brigades were to assault the beach. The whole landing zone was labelled up alphabetically from Able to Uncle. The landings at Gold Beach covered Jig and King. The 231st Brigade on Jig was to attack WN36 and 37 at Anel. The 69th Brigade was to go in on King, which stretched to Fierre-sur-Mer. The next zone was Love, which was part of Juno Beach. 76 DD tanks were to lead the assault, and they were backed up by 72 Special Armourers of the 79th Armour Division. 20 warships pounded the beach as the men made their way to the coast from 7 miles out. Strong points WN33 at Fierre and WN37 at Anel gave the most resistance as they had guns in casements. During the morning, the gun at WN33 was knocked out by a flail tank coming up the beach. It got a shot right through the opening. The 88mm gun at WN37 held out to the afternoon. Even with the gun at WN33 out, high garden walls at Fierre gave good defensive positions for the German troops till tanks come up to help. Now the only man on D-Day to win the Victoria Cross was Sergeant Major Hollis. He landed here, and as he approached the beach, he saw this building over here, which was the only building on the beach. It's just behind me there. And he thought it was a German machine gun position. So he got a Lewis machine gun on the front of the landing craft and fired at it. And when they got on the beach, they found it was a waiting room for a railway line that went along here. There used to be a railway line along here, and that was the road as well. Now their first mission was to take out a gun battery on top of the hill there. Then you can see the house on top of the hill to the left, which has vertical shutters. That was the only house that was there, and it was called the Lavatory Pan Villa because it had a driveway in front of the house, and from aerial photos, the driveway looked like a lavatory pan, so they called it the lavatory pan villa. Now Hollis was walking up there with his officer towards that gun battery, and his officers suddenly pointed out a machine gun position in front of them. Here's the lavatory pan villa, and Hollis was walking up here in front of this on the way to the gun battery they were going to attack, and then his officer said there's a machine gun position there, and some men had walked past it and the machine gun could fire on their backs. So Stanley Hollis ran straight towards it, firing his Sten gun, and jumped up on the top of the pillbox, threw a grenade through the opening, and the men inside who weren't killed by the grenade surrendered. And then he went along the trench to another machine gun position, and the men in there surrendered. He didn't even attack it. They'd seen what he did with the first machine gun. They thought, we don't want to mess with this guy, he's crazy, so they surrendered. This is one of the gun encasements at the battery called Montfleury by the Allies. That wasn't its real name. This one was finished, but another one was finished, and there were two just under construction. This casement was practically finished, and now it's been converted into a house. Rather strange house. So this casement was just under construction. They just mounted the walls, because instead of making them with a wooden form and filling in with concrete, they're making the shape of concrete blocks, and then they will fill in. So they just built these walls, and there was nothing in between them, no concrete. And the other casement is over there, and they'd hardly started building the walls there. On the outskirts of Villers-sur-Mer, the British troops put up this sign to show that that was the way to Crépol. These signs on the wall were to indicate the way to different dumps, which were at Crépol. 40 indicated the headquarters for the 50th Division, and 55 was the headquarters for the East Yorks Regiment. A dump is where they put all the supplies. Just like the other beaches, the current and wind sent the landing craft off course, but each regiment took on the strong point that they landed near. The Hampshires were supposed to land against WN-37, but landed against the Dorset's objective, WN-36. Although being fired on from WN-37, they soon overcame WN-36, as the defenders were still groggy from the bombardment. They then had to take on WN-37. Company A of the Hampshires launched an attack towards WN-37 along the beach. Even with limited support from a destroyer and an LCS, the attack came to a halt. Several DD tanks and crocodiles had been knocked out or drowned. Major Howard decided to stop the attack and mount another attack from inland. An LCS is a landing craft support vessel. It's about 150 foot long, with up to 15 guns, from machine guns to 40mm guns and rocket launchers. This gun emplacement was in the middle of WN-37. It was a pretty big strong point along Gold Beach. There was a sanatorium in the middle of it from which Germans were firing, and this gun emplacement had a 75mm gun. Now, it held out till around about 4 o'clock. The strong point was finally silenced around 4 p.m. As usual, accounts are confused and contradictory. The most likely account is that Company B of the Hampshires, with the help of an Havre, forced their addition. The Hampshires came down Rue de Southampton. The Havre sent 2 30-kilogram mortars into the sanatorium, which led the occupants to surrender, and then a further spigot mortar onto the back of the casemate. Now, surrounding this strong point were machine gun positions. There's one over there, and there's one behind us. With WN-37 out, work on clearing obstacles could go ahead, helped by German prisoners. The coastal defences were now silenced. There remained the inland defences. The Dorsets attacked WN-40, which was in 3 separate sections. They took out WN-40A first by fire and manoeuvre, and then position B and the main position at Herod's Well. Once WM40 was out, they could advance to the field guns at WM41. Stanley Hollis's second valiant attack happened at Crepon. WN35B was in a wood just behind this house at Pavillon Farm. He went through this gateway to the end of the wall, and from there he fired a Piat at the strong point. The German artillery fired and hit the house. Hollis pulled out to report to Major Lofthouse. He heard a German machine gun firing and realised some men were pinned down behind the house. Once again he ran straight towards the machine gun, firing his Sten gun to pull the men out from under their fire. Now Hollis died in the 1980s, and his wife, being hard up, sold his Victoria Cross for £30,000. And the man who bought this building and has turned it into a memorial to Stanley Hollis. Stanley Hollis was in the Green Howards. This monument is to the Green Howards. It's in the middle of Crepon. Just on the outskirts of Anel is this house which was used as the HQ for the Hampshires. The church at Anel was used by the 1st Hampshires as their aid station, helped by some nuns. The car park of the 360-degree cinema was a radar station, Stützpunkt 39. It was taken without too much trouble, as it was manned by naval personnel not trained in fighting on land. 40 prisoners were taken. They then went down towards Arromanches to take WM43 that housed a 105mm gun. It now has a tank on the top. In the garden in the house opposite is a machine gun Tobruk. Naval gunfire was brought to bear on WM44 west of Arromanches. When the Hampshires attacked, most of the men disappeared. It was taken around 2000 hours. The Devonshires were supposed to take Long Gun Battery on D-Day. That didn't happen till the 7th. Long Gun Battery will be the subject of another video. This is Mont Cavalier at Escure near Pont-Bessin, and it was from here that the 47th Royal Marine Commandos were supposed to launch their attack. They should have been here at 3 o'clock in the afternoon after landing at Gold Beach. But they didn't get here till 10 o'clock at night, so it's a bit too late to attack, and they put the attack off till the 7th. That will be another video, so subscribe and tap the bell to be informed of new videos. The British troops coming in from Gold Beach got to this junction. That road leads to Somerview. Now when they got here, a priest came out from Bayeux to meet them, and he said to them, "Bayeux's empty of Germans, you can just walk in." It was a bit late in the evening to carry on, so they kept him with them, and they went in the morning and just walked in because he was telling the truth. Now that's the common story. Of course, there's always 2 stories for everything, and there's 3. The entry into Bayeux will be another video, so another reason to tap subscribe and the bell and give us a like. So see you soon.